All right, take two. We were just recording for 20 minutes, and Amar kicked the cord. There's a whole mess of cords on the living room floor right now.
It's the producer's fault.
And Amar kicked a cord and disconnected the mixer, and we just lost the whole first 22 minutes that we recorded. But here we go.
Welcome into the Scoundrels podcast.
Yeah, welcome back.
TBK could have a different name in a month or two. Who knows? But this is the starting one.
Yeah.
You've got Amar here.
Yeah. And Joe. And then Brian back there on the ones and twos.
What up?
So
happy birthday, COVID.
Yeah.
Happy birthday
so
to
what was
you.
when was the I believe it was March 15th.
Yeah.
Was the day
It was March 13th because I was it was just after that because I came back from a bachelor party in Cabo the 13th.
Okay.
And then we'd gone to a bar that weekend off the news that Cuomo was going to be shutting down New York.
Yeah.
So we knew something. It was like our last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Do you remember where'd you go?
Oh my God. I want to say it was Berlin, which definitely is a COVID den. If COVID was created, not at a wet market, it was definitely in Berlin.
I've actually never been there. It's one of the first places I want to go once the masks are gone, things are completely back. And
you might need a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
That place is so grunge.
When I remember, I remember I correlated with St. Patty's Day, and St. Patty's Day was on a Sunday.
Yep.
And the Tuesday before that, I went to a friend's apartment, and we were watching The Bachelor. And I remember leaving the apartment, and I went to Gem's Saloon and I had 2 beers with one of our mutual friends. Yep. And then the next day, it was Wednesday, and I woke up and I had a workout class, and I just felt like dog shit. Like I was tired and achy and hungover, and it didn't make sense because I think I had 2 or 3, maybe 4 drinks the night before, like not enough that I should have felt that way. And then I went and I worked out and did heavy squats, which didn't help at all. And then I went in the office and then came back, and then the next day felt awful again, but I was like, it didn't feel bad enough that I felt like I was really sick. And at that time there was rumblings of COVID in the news, but it was so sensationalized that I thought everyone that got it was going to the hospital. There was really no talk of people that were asymptomatic or experiencing mild symptoms of that at that point. And so by Wednesday and Thursday, I didn't want to leave the couch. I don't know if I had a fever or anything, but I just was kind of achy and tired.
Yeah, mine was similar. I thought it was the flu, and for the longest time, I've still technically never tested positive for COVID, but I had the antibody, so it was definitely one and the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was same flu-like symptoms. Was out for 4 days, lingered for a week of every time when I ran, I was out of breath, all of that stuff. But seems like we're hitting the light at the end of the tunnel. What's the first thing you're doing as soon as this ends? First place you're hitting?
Man, Comedy Cellar.
Love that.
Here we go. Comedy Cellar. Either 8 p.m. or a 10 p.m. show.
Ooh.
Probably
do the 10.
8 p.m.
The 10, you're going to get Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock.
The later it gets, the better the
Kristen
guest.
Wiig will just show up and maybe rip a titty out. I don't know.
Yeah. 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. Comedy Cellar, and then a No Rules Fiddlesticks after.
Oh, dude. Speaking of Fiddlesticks, we're going there for St. Patty's Day. We're tearing that place down.
Oh, I'm down.
But no, that's going to be good. I think too, I think mine's going to be Wilfie and Nell. That's my old spot. I just can't wait to get into that dark den and just literally drink them dry.
Yeah. I've been there a few times. I haven't been there enough to. Times I've been there has been awesome though.
Number 1 date spot in New York. Hands down. Beautiful lighting, makes you seem richer than you are, and it's just
it does.
They nailed the lighting where everybody's pretty in the room. It's beautiful. It's great. So you're definitely. It is the best date spot in New York, hands down. Yeah. Play the music at just the right volume.
It feels like a New York bar.
Yeah.
When you think of New York,
absolutely,
the atmosphere in there is what
candlelit,
you feel
brick wall interior. Yeah. Oh, it's lovely.
It's people that it's a vibe that people think it feels like everyone feels sophisticated in there.
Yeah.
But really they like just came from Fiddlesticks, or like they'll be at Fiddlesticks later.
That's
Like
true.
that's
It's
kind of like what it feels like.
It's like you just drank at the park all day in like a summer day. You're still in the same shorts. You're sweating probably in your shirt, and you're just gonna go like straight to go straight to Wolfie and Nell and just like feel it out.
Yeah.
What okay, so Mississippi and Texas are now removing the mask mandates, right? So your boss basically tells you, if you're a Texas resident, your boss says, "Hey, you have to come in, mask mandatory." Like, what do? You're not vaccinated. Do you go in?
I mean, it really depends job to job. I would prefer not to. The beautiful thing about this is that it has allowed people flexibility to work from home, which I hope is something that kind of stays with this throughout the future. Because I think it's better when you allow people to make their own decisions of whether they want to go in or work remote if they're able to.
Yeah, and you mentioned too, which I thought was interesting, is like we were talking earlier. You're saying this is like the guinea pig for like the spike cases, right? Like this will be the guinea pig of seeing what happens there, whether cases spike or not. Will be kind of like the trailblazer for like what other states do. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the one thing I've thought during all this is I question a lot of the lockdown measures.
Yeah.
Like I get it. You should wear a mask. I always say you should wear a mask if you're in a place that people don't have a choice to go. Like if you're on the subway, on a flight, in the grocery store, like things that are people are doing and at because they have to.
Yeah.
Right? You should wear a mask. I think some of the condescending tone of like shaming people for not wearing a mask, or like the charade of wearing one when you walk into a place and then taking it off, I think is a little much. I just think the messaging could be better. But I think what Texas and Mississippi will do is, if there is no spike, in theory, they don't have everyone vaccinated. So if it's running wild, no mask, there should be some spike. If there's no spike, if it's still a gradual decline, it for me, it kind of answers the questions that a lot of these lockdowns were kind of pointless.
Yeah. Let's play a little Would You Rather, Joe. Mm-hmm. So you're a huge McConaughey fan. No secret there. So like, would you rather go through COVID again or not be able to watch your favorite McConaughey movie ever again or quote it?
Not McConaughey. I don't ever want to go through this again.
Fair. Okay.
Speaking of restrictions, though, Cuomo was just stripped of his emergency powers today.
Yeah. God bless us with De Blasio.
Yeah. When COVID started, if you said, "Hey Joe, I'll give you $1 million if you can name either the mayor or the governor of New York. You just have to name one," I wouldn't have been able to do it. I literally had no knowledge of who was in government in New York, in the city or the state of New York, and I've lived here for 4 years now.
That's insane.
I had no knowledge.
The only reason I know is because like every other word for a long time is like "fuck De Blasio" whenever you walk around New York.
Yeah.
Or,
like I had heard it before, but it never registered that was like an important fact to remember.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember when it all started, watching Cuomo do his spiels on. I always thought he came off as kind of like a condescending dad.
Yeah.
You know?
I know what you mean.
And to be determined whether what he was doing as far as shutting things down worked or not. But
totally.
He reminded me of like when I was a kid, there was always like when I would go to a friend's house, and like I grew up in the country, so we would like climb trees and like jump out of trees. And there were always like those parents who were like the safety police.
Oh, yeah.
And like when you wanted to run around and like shoot BB guns and like do stuff outside, there was the parents that like they're just the no fun parents.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt, like how he made me feel.
I know what you mean. His tone was super over the top. It was like he would step up to the podium super annoyed. He'd come in and he'd be like, "This is a chin strap. This is a nose guard.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a mask." And he would like come and he'd have his nipple rings like blaring, sometimes like sweating all the time. Do you think he actually has nipple rings?
I don't know. I actually haven't looked at the pictures.
I think I thought about this. I think he actually just has 3 nipples. And I think he just has multiple nipples. They're not actually nipple rings.
Yeah.
So he lactates.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. But how I've been feeling lately is just, I never understood the public's adoration of him.
Okay.
I understand that maybe it was something like in contrast to the Trump thing, which I get that. But I don't know. I never looked at him and thought like, this is a guy I want to get behind.
I will say at the beginning, I thought he actually did pretty good. I mean, like, he just kind of said the right things in a time of panic. He kind of put his foot down and he had the right attitude of like, we're getting through this. I'm going to steer us through this. I'm going to guide us. And he kind of like led the way really well, which I think in a time of panic where New York has so many, it's just a melting pot of so many sporadic different types of people. Like, you kind of need someone to just like be that white knight. And he did that, which I think was good.
Yeah.
The thing that always kind of threw me off was the whole like, I'm like right now. The thing that threw me off with him was his like writing a book in October being like how we beat it.
Yeah.
And it was like, bro, we are not even close. Like I can't even go to Trader Joe's without waiting for 45 minutes to get in the door. Yeah. We haven't beat shit, you know?
Yeah. I didn't understand why he was so beloved. Yeah. And he won an Emmy and like stuff like that for his press conferences. But my whole point is I've been feeling so validated the past couple of weeks with everything that's been going on with him. Yeah. Between the scandals and the sexual harassment stuff that has come out.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like I should have probably read the reports more thoroughly, but like something about like guys in that generation, like Joe B was been a little handsy and creepy. Now you got like Cuomo, like I don't know. Some of the shit that he said was true. Like I think one of the aides he's like, are you like monogamous? And like, do you like older men? Like, I've had 4, 5 jobs, never been asked if I like older women or if I'm monogamous. So it's like, it's very creepy if it's true. Yeah. And I feel like the fact that like 2 more women came out yesterday, like it's really hard to believe that like where there's no smoke, where there's smoke, there's no fire. Yeah. You know?
And I don't think he did anything, at least from assuming everything I've read is true and whatnot. It doesn't appear that he's done anything illegal, but what he's basically been doing is being creepy. Yeah. And between that and the nursing home thing, which is probably a much bigger deal.
I'm surprised he's not indicted for that. Yeah. That one blows my mind.
Do you think he should he should resign?
I do.
Let's break it down. Do you think he should resign for being creepy?
No, I don't think you should resign for being a creep, but I do think the court of public opinion will end up like casting a sentence anyways. Like I think if he were to, I don't know if he's eligible for another term, but if he were to run for re-election.
No, I think he is eligible for a third.
I don't think there's any way.
I need Brian to back that up. I don't know.
Be interesting. Top of my head. Brian, Stats Analytics, can we get a check?
We don't have enough money for a computer.
Oh, just use mine. No, but yeah, I mean, no, I don't think creepiness is something that you can get really like in trouble for, but I will say that like,
you could say that he doesn't.
Misreporting deaths is like, it's fraud. Yeah. You absolutely.
Did you see the de Blasio interview with MSNBC?
The one where he basically called out.
Yeah, where he said that he's condescending.
Dude,
and
those guys hate each other.
Yeah. I could not. I was sitting here in this couch, working from home, and I pulled up the interview on MSNBC, and I jumped out of my chair. I couldn't believe he went that far in on Cuomo.
God,
there's breaking news now that the leader of the New York State Senate said Cuomo should resign. That was 15 minutes ago. So there's hot takes coming live off the press.
Hey,
goodbye. Yeah, but here's another question though. If Cuomo is stripped of his emergency powers, which it looks like he is getting stripped of them.
He already signed the bill, so he no longer has emergency powers. So it's local.
Does that loosen restrictions faster or slower?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like de Blasio is so behind on things. The thing is, too, is he's like in his last bit of his term too. Like he's about to be done. Yeah, and he can't run again. So it'll be interesting to see. Andrew Yang's gonna be interesting. Because his whole thing, I actually supported his platform of like offering dividends to people. It was interesting to me. Like everyone gets like an
I've heard him on Rogan, and So I did an exercise where I watched Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang on Rogan back to back, and I made myself listen to the whole thing and like really try to take in all of it. And to me, I was impressed with how well thought out Andrew Yang's cases were for universal basic income. I'm not sure if it's the right answer or not, but I thought compared to Bernie, I think his stuff was a lot more well thought out and made a lot more sense. So you can tell he's put a ton of real thought into it. And he's done a lot of good things, I think, for the community before he was got into politics.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it'll be What else is going on in the Cuomo world that you can tell us about this sexual assault stuff? Did you find anything else out?
I mean, it's just he's basically just being creepy. Like did you see the picture of him squeezing the girl's face?
I did see that. Yeah,
like it's so
but
incriminating.
That's so
looking.
Open. It looks bad, but it's also like a
so
pictures with 1,000 words. Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard to base it on that.
Yeah, the one thing I would argue that he should accept is apparently, and I read a thing in the Washington Post this morning that he is like a screamer. Like he is.
Oh yeah,
he
berates,
talks down to people.
Which are you
and,
surprised?
Berates his staff, and to me, I know that there's probably some really successful companies that are ran that way, but to me, that's not the way to lead. And I think if he's leading like that, that means his aides and his staff aren't doing as effective job as they could be.
No, that's fair.
And really, I mean, you want to put the best person in there who could do the best job.
Yeah.
And to me, he just, for lack of a better word, he just seems like a dick. Really, that's like the end of it.
Hot take. You heard it here first.
Cuomo
dick.
It's nice here, like I've been feeling really validated by that the past couple of weeks because I've been saying this since May.
What's fascinating is I don't think I've ever seen many people that go from the penthouse to the basement in terms of popularity fast as
so
this
quick,
guy, right? Like,
so quick.
Literally, like this was the face of the fight for COVID of all of the United States for turning New York around and taking the worst progressing state and city and just turning it around and like basically getting it normalized and opening hospital beds to now being like the guy's going to lose his job in less than a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wild.
Unreal.
So Joe, talk to me. You're a resident Bachelor fan.
Yeah.
What is going on? Talk to me a little bit about the current state. What's going on?
Yeah.
Besides Matt James kissing with his eyes open.
Yeah. So this is something I wanted to talk about because you're not as familiar with this, so I'm gonna try to explain it as best I can. But basically, there is a girl on the current season of The Bachelor. Her name's Rachel Kirkconnell, and she's currently in the final 4. So she's made it really far on the show, and there's been a lot of backlash coming out about, for lack of a better word, like racist stuff or insensitive stuff that she did within the past couple years. And one of the biggest ones that everyone seems to be harping on is that in college she went to what they call, I had never even heard this word until this came out, but an antebellum party, which is basically, as far as I understand it, they're basically dress up as Old South.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's on
old time.
I think they were on a plantation too.
It from the pictures, it made it look like looked like a plantation-esque, like Southern estate, kind of thing. And she's basically getting crucified online, and then people are saying that she should be kicked off the show, or that the show should have done better vetting and like found this and like not cast her in the first place. And there's arguments over whether it's fair or unfair. And it was done, I think the pictures were from 2018, and the girl is 24 now, so she would have been 21, 22, 21. I think she was 21 when the antebellum pictures were taken. Yeah. And what I don't think is like fair to her is I can see where it's taken way out of context, I grew up in like a small like country town.
Yeah.
Like I can see like where people would want to go to this. And she grew up in Georgia, and she went to college in Georgia, and she's in a sorority at some college in Georgia. And I'm sure her sorority came together, and I doubt it was phrased, let's do an antebellum or plantation themed party. It was probably more like, hey, let's like dress up in old time Southern dresses and like take a bunch of fun pictures for Instagram. And I was just thinking about all the people that are crucifying her. If they were born in that town and raised in that family and went to that college and are in that sorority, are they really going to stop and say, no, this is insensitive? Probably not.
Well, I think that's the argument too. It's like listening to it from, Rachel and Matt's side. It's like, it's just interesting to hear, like, I think the bigger issue is just like the miseducation of like, there's a bigger problem with the system and everything going on, and we just need to be better as a community and as a culture of just like educating our youth and educating people to make sure that they understand things like that for the future, right? It's like they need to understand that like that's not okay, and like a Confederate flag in a picture should make you like offended, not like, even though like you shouldn't not see it in the forethought of your mind, like that's to people, it's like it's the equivalent of like standing next to a Nazi flag in the corner, which like, you know, I'm not Jewish, but like those things would, to me, both like stand out as like, oh shit, like that's fucked up.
Yeah. And it all depends at context. Like I remember a specific incident when I was in maybe like middle school or like early high school. My family, we went on a trip, like a vacation to, I think it was like somewhere in North Carolina, like Topsail Island or something like that. And I remember being on the beach, and there was a guy, like a family next to us, and he had a couple kids and a wife and a dad kind of thing. They looked like a normal, like nice family, just enjoying the beach, nothing alarming. But the dad had like an actual Nazi swastika tattooed on his chest. And I just remember like as a kid, even as like, 13 years old, I was like, that's bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I was in high school, I didn't think the Confederate flag was that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends.
I see it now, but I just wasn't educated at that time.
No, I mean, and I think that's the root of the issue, right? Too. It's like that's the root of the issue, is like we just need to be better as an entire like community to just like educate people, change the way things are, because like the way it is right now, like there's just a lot of fucked up inherent things in place that kind of bring down an entire subset of people. And it's like, we're going to look back on these times. I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, like I have a lot of issues with cancel culture. I think one thing is like, we're going to look back on our kids and our grandkids, and our grandkids and like those after them are going to be like, I can't believe you guys thought some of this shit was okay when they look back. It's just one of those things. We're just at a turning point as a culture. Like, I don't know, as Brian once eloquently said, we might look back at meat one day and think of it as like, I can't believe you guys would kill animals. And like, it's just, we're at the forefront of a change happening, and it's for the good, and conversations need to happen. And like, I think there's a lot of progress being made, but a lot of progress to make as well. And so, it's interesting times for sure. I mean, I think the other thing that's scary is like just educating young people to also realize that like their lives are constantly, like anything you do is being filmed, and like everything you do is being like put out on the internet, and you just need to be so conscious of like your presence everywhere, because like everything right now, and maybe it gets better, is just like put out there. You almost have no privacy anymore.
Yeah. When you watch this girl Rachel on the show, though, in my opinion, I think Brian shares the same opinion.
Yeah,
too.
You know better than I. I don't watch the show.
She is the most, of all the girls in the show, I think she inspires the most joy.
Okay.
Like she just has like a face and a smile that like you want to be around. And she kind of has this like confident vulnerability about her. And she's like the most likable person on the show.
Okay.
Which is why this whole thing is interesting. Yeah. And you watch her, like I remember watching a scene from, I think it was 2 episodes ago or whatever. They're going to the rose ceremony. And there's this other girl, Bree, who's a black girl. And I was watching this through the lens that they're trying to cancel her kind of as I'm watching this episode. And I'm watching her, she walks up and like sees Bree and like just holds her hand. And it was like this friendly moment. And like they're crucifying this girl who just seems like the sweetest person and probably did like anything
or
she
just
did.
Unaware. Okay.
Anything she did, I believe she was completely unaware of, and there was no malice intended at all.
Yeah.
And not to say it wasn't insensitive, because it was. Yeah. But I think what I'm trying to say here is I think we should be more forgiving and letting people grow and learn instead of crucifying them.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think it sucks that it takes us, but there's education in this for the future too, right? Like,
yeah, it's good for her.
I think for her, but even like think of younger girls who watch the show and are just like, those parties are probably not going to happen again. And if they are, like, there's going to be like, I think they won't, sorry, let me rephrase that. those parties probably won't happen again. And if someone tries to do that, there's going to be much more awareness around holding people accountable who try to do that versus like,
which is fair.
I mean, like, let's be honest, like, you know, back then things were just not just, were approached a little differently 10, 20 years ago. You know, like there's things that happened at college when I was there that just like wouldn't fly anymore. You know, themed parties, things like that. Like that just like, I mean, people at Coachella in 2010 were wearing headdresses. Like you can't do that anymore. Like just times were just different. And people just really took a stand for what they believed was right, that people were too afraid prior to kind of step up and support. So it's interesting. It's fascinating. We'll see what happens. So is Rachel top 4?
She's top 4 right now.
So what stops Matt
top
from
3?
Just, so is Matt automatically
I think
not
she's
getting
top
the rose?
3. She's top 3. There's 3 left. She's one of them.
So is it safe to say she's not getting the rose?
It's safe to say she could very well be the winner.
Oh, interesting.
The show's like the new,
because it's already done.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh shit.
It's done filming, but they don't. Everyone's hush hush until the end. But the second to last episode is tomorrow, and she's one of the last remaining 3.
Yeah.
And to me, when you watch her and Matt's chemistry, I think she's going to be the one that wins it.
Do you think he kisses her with his eyes open?
Yeah, he kisses all of the eyes open. But you should watch it though. It's. I guess I get triggered by them being, the internet being so ruthless to her.
Yeah.
And she seems like such a genuine person. You know?
Yeah.
Not saying what she did wasn't insensitive, because I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
But I just don't think she knew any better.
No, that makes sense.
And I would encourage people that are looking at her negatively to be like, would you have done any different in that situation? Raised by that family, in that town, in that college, and your girlfriend say, let's all dress up in like old time dresses and take fun pictures for Instagram. You know, that's probably how it went down.
Guess you don't know. We don't know until we're there.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Barstool ETF that just came out?
Buzz. Yeah, I've been following it. Well, I followed it for like a day. You know, classic Portnoy. The man is a master salesman, master marketer. Interesting. I thought their promo video was great with him doing like the Buzz Lightyear cameo and like all the TV screens. I thought it was phenomenal. I heard. So, are you investing in it?
I have invested in it, and I'm going to invest more, I think.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go.
Let me ask you this: what's your return on it? Do you know how much % you're up since you invested?
It's pretty much flat right now, at least the last I checked.
So I guess here's my thing with it. So it's, for those who don't know,
let's explain it first.
It's Barstool. Actually, Barstool Sports is partnering, and
it's not their ETF. It's someone else.
Exactly. Yeah, it's it's Guard something. Van Eck. So it's Van Eck, and Barstool is partnering with them. It might just be important. No, it's Barstool. They're partnering with them to basically provide this ETF that takes, based on algorithms that Davey Day Trader has accumulated and been offered and all these things, it reads internet threads and trends and basically decides where the fund should invest your money. Background, an ETF is essentially a money manager, takes your money and he redistributes your funds across different stocks over time and bonds, basically give you a certain percentage of growth. Ideally, these are more long-term plays. You have someone managing it, and then essentially like they'll move it around for you all throughout the time, and the rate of return is potentially very high if you don't touch it for like 10 or like 40 years. So it's a good retirement fund. Retirement plan. My issue with the Barstool and Buzz ETF is essentially that, like, how good is the data they're pulling that if you're constantly following Wall Street Bets or Discord or like any other internet board where names are getting thrown out all the time, you know, $sin, you got GME, all these things that names are getting popped up. How do you filter who's good and what's not? Like, I feel like there's been so much attention on the internet. Like, I know people who will basically put names of stocks that they want to go up on these internet boards in order to pump them up to sell them in the short term. Like, it is a common thing right now. The market manipulation is at an all-time high through the internet. Like, I'm concerned with the way this algorithm works, that I have Buzz on watch. So I'm looking at it. My big concern is, like, how do you discern how they're pulling the data. For me as an investor, need to learn more before I put money into it, into what makes up the algorithm. How do they filter the data? What are their sources?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Well, apparently it scrapes all corners of the internet, like Discord, Reddit, everything like that. And what it basically is saying is that the stock market is what's up and what's down has a lot to do with what's popular in the media and on the internet.
I mean, I'm very curious though, right? Because I think, there was a little bit, and this is where if you're plugged in, you're plugged in. Maybe they have that. Like for me, it's one of those things where there's such a magnifying glass on Wall Street Bets was like the hidden gem of where things were being put and people would like go in there and look for stuff. So maybe there is another hidden gem that they have an inside guy on and they know where to go.
Yeah, that is a huge part of it.
That's going to be the biggest part, right? Because,
so many people are the way I look at it now. It's like this is something that can do all the internet research for me. Yeah. In theory. And I'm curious, we'll know if it works or not if there's another like GameStop situation. Totally. Like if the ETF
you won't know though, right? Because you don't necessarily know where your ETF funds are invested.
But it should still like if there's a huge spike like something like AMC and GameStop, your fund still should go up. Even if it's spread out across, 75 different things, in theory they should still see this is happening before it really happens and move your money into it.
So are you in on it based on the algorithm, or do you have another reason for why you're putting more money in on it?
Part of it is the algorithm, because I do think that a lot of the stock market is basically media manipulation. And then I really do believe in Barstool and Portnoy. Like I think that their track record of success speaks for itself.
Brian, hit us with the ETF.
So an ETF stands for an exchange traded fund, and they're very similar to mutual funds. And an ETF can hold assets such as stocks, bonds, currencies, or other commodities. And they basically seek to track some specific asset class or some fund. So there's an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, and basically the goal is for this fund to track whatever the movement of whatever it's tracking is, to repeat myself 3 times now. And the Van Eck fund that Buzz is based off of is the Van Eck Vector Social Sentiment ETF. And basically, it is tracking internet sentiment surrounding different stocks across different sites and algorithmically assigning which one has the most positive sentiment that will then create value for customers long term.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. But basically, my whole point is I believe in Barstool and Portnoy's like track record of success. And I know their like Penn stock that they did seems to be doing well.
Penn's doing all right.
And I don't know. I just saw it come out. I thought it was interesting, and then
last ticker Penn was at 100 when I saw it on Friday.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna move some money into it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just for me, it's the risk. I think unless you have someone on the inside knowing where to specifically scrape or strongly scrape, it's like there's no Wall Street Bets is basically just like
I'm sure there's people
fodder now,
like humans behind it too. I don't think they're just
I would think so. Oh yeah,
everything.
Yeah, because I think the way the algorithm's set up, it just pulls from a lot of different sources. They know, but I mean, like maybe they're plugged in, right? Because I'm sure. I mean, Portnoy's not an idiot. Like I think he's probably asking the same questions I am. He's like, okay, well, Wall Street Bets is basically spent. It's done. Where are you going to look? Is it like Discord? Is it what is it, like Signal? Is where are you looking that now basically all of those kitty whatever are like what's his name? I forget his name. The dude who like
Big Cat.
Yeah.
No, not Big Cat. No. The dude Hello Kitty, Sexy Kitty. The dude who like took down the hedge funds.
Yeah.
Roaring Kitty. Yeah, there we go. So Roaring Kitty, it's like those guys are all moving somewhere and they're talking about where to put their money. Those are the guys you want to follow. The problem is, where is that? It was Wall Street Bets. Now it's somewhere else. So it's like if those guys are plugged in, then the fund's going to roar, which is why I have it on watch. But like, I just want to see how it moves before I'm going to put money in.
I'll let you know. I put some in there. I'm going to put in more this week. I'm a big believer.
Like a true stoolie.
It's not, and I used to not be the biggest. I wasn't like a big Barstool person up until kind of within the past year or two, maybe.
Or fucking PMT, dude. Love PMT.
But I don't know. I despite that they're a comedy thing, a comedy site, basically. That's basically what they are. Yeah. I think that they started out selling newspapers in Boston, right? And they blew up
Yeah.
into this huge thing. And I really believe in their ability to stay current and adapt and like keep getting wins and wins and wins. And then what they're doing for like small businesses and stuff like that.
Dude,
is
that's
amazing,
what
too.
I think has been the
Yeah.
highlight. Like I mean, like I always followed loosely Barstool, but like the Barstool Fund for restaurants is the best thing to come out of this pandemic. I feel like
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a cause I'm more behind than helping small businesses like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What is it? Was like what Portnoy and Guy Fieri had done for small businesses and restaurants was like triple what the government of New York had done.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
insane.
Yeah.
For
Crazy.
New York, it's
Yeah.
impressive.
I'll let you know how it goes, but I saw it go, and I literally threw money in like right on Thursday at 9:30 when it
Joe,
opened
maybe
up.
this is our weekly. I want a weekly status
A
update
yeah,
of how
weekly
Buzz is
status update
performing. Read
on
us the prospectus
on the Barstool
to
ETF.
show us where the fund's investing.
All right.
I want your highs and lows.
All right. Brian, you had some questions to wrap us up.
Yeah.
As always, we're going to finish the Scoundrels podcast with Herb's hot seat.
Hit me, Herb.
All right. You know the rules of the game. I'm going to ask you a yes or no question, and you just have to respond immediately without thinking about it. They're also categorical questions. We're going to start with Joe first, and then move over to Amar. Joe, least favorite sexual position?
Oh man.
Missionary.
Fuck.
Gotta go.
Quick.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
Probably.
Anal.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Amar, is there life after death?
Oh, that was a question.
Is
yeah.
there life after death?
No.
Joe, is there life on other planets?
I would say yeah. Probably.
Amar, is it ethical to eat meat?
Yeah.
Joe, is it ethical to eat meat?
No. Yeah. I said yes.
Part of me says no, but I feel like I can't survive without it.
Yeah, I'm not willing to change.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm working on that.
Amar, should murderers and other criminals be executed? Essentially, do you believe in the death penalty?
Oh, that's aggressive. Depending on the crime.
These are going to get worse.
You trying to get us canceled like first show?
Joe, does God exist?
I don't know, but I think it's nice to have faith in something that's bigger than right here, right now. So
Amar.
I'll go with yeah.
Right here.
Amar, is animal experimentation justified? In terms of, for a lot of food and beauty products, we test things on animals first.
Jesus. For the advancement of humans, I will say it's fine.
I agree with that. If it leads
God, we're
to
horrible.
saving
We're gonna get
human
canceled
life,
so quickly. Like, there's no way we're winning in these questions.
Worst producer ever.
We're gonna piss people off.
Yeah.
Should drugs be legal?
it depends case by case. In large part, I would say legal but regulated for most of them.
Amar, is torture ever justified? For example, to prevent a terrorist attack?
That would be the one place I would say if it's like to gain an advantage over
If it's to save lives, if it's to save lives,
yeah, if it's to save plenty of lives and there's like a world war,
yeah, I would say yeah.
yeah, for information.
Joe, do guns make society safer or more violent?
Oh man,
Dude.
Because I'm not like in favor of.
These are all
man,
producers' questions.
that's
All
such
answers are not
if
ours.
I just answer the question, I think you have to say
That's
They
what
make
makes
sus-
this very difficult
if you-
because I'm trying to get yes or no.
if
out
you
of guys.
eliminate
This podcast
all
is
guns,
agnostic.
if you eliminate all guns, then society is less violent.
Fair
But
enough.
the question is, I don't know if you can eliminate all guns.
And finalizing it up with the one that's clearly the most controversial.
Oh, fuck me.
Amar, is evolution or creationism the truth?
I'm going evolution.
Incorrect. That's all from Herb's Corner.
All right.
Well, guys,
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks
listening.
for joining us. Welcome to this week's Scoundrel Podcast. We'll have more for you every week. Come to you live with more hot topics.
All right. Follow, swipe up, subscribe.
Peace out.